Hello, kiddies. It's your old pal, John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper, and you're listening to Video Store Clerks Podcast.
Welcome to the store.
Hello, Internet. We welcome you once again to give you life. This is the Video Store Clerks Podcast. We are your video store clerks for the evening. And as you might notice, we have a very special guest on with us here tonight as we discuss the cult horror comedy classic, RE-ANIMATOR. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Jeff. You surely recognize him from the Skewered Universe podcast and from our friends over at the Tales from the Podcast. And he will be joining us tonight to talk about this all-time favorite. And we are your clerks for the evening. I am Dave.
Chad, man.
Dr. Leisure.
Dr. Nasty.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But we will start the program, as we always do, with the news.
The news is coming to your asshole, motherfucker. So open up wine.
A little bit scary, especially when you can't see what's going on. But oh my gosh, no! Okay, I'm sorry to anyone's eardrums. Okay, we're good. We're all good. We're going somewhere else. Okay.
Only 54 though. Bone chilling.
Excellent.
Had to throw the weatherman on there as always. Yes. But I got a little ahead of myself. I apologize. Before we get to the news, none of it's good anyway, so it doesn't matter.
You got a little ahead of yourself?
Jeff, my man, thank you so much for joining us. How are you tonight, sir?
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I'm great. Glad to be here. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we don't unlock the video store for just anyone, just so you know.
I'm just glad you guys aren't going to charge me all those late fees.
Well, the night's not over. I'll just cut up your membership.
That was not discussed. Yeah, Jeff, glad you're able to make it, man.
Me too, man. Thanks for reaching out, Chuck, and getting this all set.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I've been on your show a few times, and we always have a blast, and we always have a blast on here. So I figure we just bring you over to the Blasty Blast zone.
Hey, might as well. It's some guys talking about movies. It's the shit I love.
Lasting good time.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to the store.
Yes, that's all we do. We just hang out. We have a good time. Everyone's feeling a little rushed tonight, so we'll kind of chill out. We'll get into the mood. We'll get into the groove of things. But I guess with the news, we'll start with the box office. T Swift once again brought more people into theaters. Got to give her props. Taking the #1 spot with 33 mil. Killers of the Flower Moon. Martin Scorsese's new film, so came in second with 23 mil. And in a distant third is the hideous known as The Exorcist Believer with 5.6 mil. Well, this is the interesting thing, though. Paw Patrol is #4. That's not the interesting thing, though. #5 was the re-release of Nightmare Before Christmas, a 30-year anniversary re-release that opened at like half as many theaters of the before-mentioned films and still brought in $4.2 million. So,
I mean, it's a classic. It's a classic. I mean, I'm kind of burnt out the fuck. I'm burnt the fuck out of it, but out on it. Jesus, I can't talk. But it is. I mean, it's a good movie. It's a fun one, but it is completely a classic. But I'm completely burnt out on it. So I mean, that's kind of cool.
It's got a huge fan base too, so it makes sense that they would bring in.
Oh yeah, there's been so many tattoos since that movie got big again. Everybody has a Nightmare Before Christmas tattoo, except me and hopefully none of us in this room.
Not me.
I was gonna get the tramp stamp next week of Nightmare.
That would just be funny though. You just get all three, like all the three like weird kids or whatever they are. Just have them like on your like tramp stamp right there. That would be kind of cool. I would be okay with that. But
can I add you to that, Chuck? Because that would be the only way it would be fitting.
You would be honored. It would be an honor. And now, in some depressing news, Richard Roundtree, best known as Shaft from the 1970s, just passed away at the age of 81. Yeah, so that's kind of a bummer.
That like just happened. I didn't even hear about that.
Yeah, I think it just happened.
Hour.
Yeah.
I can't dig it.
Yeah.
No.
Usually it's like on a Wednesday or Thursday that somebody passes away because Paulie from Burt Young passed away, I think, last Wednesday.
Yeah.
Like it's usually the day after we're not on the air that we lose somebody. So.
Fucking Shaft, man.
Motherfucking Shaft. In a follow-up to last week's story about Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey being shown to a group of fourth graders, rather. Like that it matters. Grade schoolers.
Forgot about that.
The director recently chimed in, and I quote, "It's mad, isn't it? I think it's crazy because when you watch the film, there is no way you can mistake it for a child's film. Literally, in the first 10 minutes, crazy stuff is happening. And the characters look scary. So I don't know how, because they said it went on for 20 to 30 minutes. I don't know how it went on that long. I don't know if the teacher put it on and just walked out, left them, or if the kids tricked them or something. Hopefully we haven't ruined these kids' childhoods."
Or it's just bringing up the next generation. I mean, it's not a very good movie, but it's a slasher. I mean, I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I mean, I wouldn't be too thrilled if like my kid was like, "Hey, we watched this really graphically like violent movie in class today." I wouldn't be too happy about it. No. But let's just think about it for a second. I mean, we used to watch. I mean, I had to watch Schindler's List in school. Even though Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, whatever the fuck, shitty movie.
What are you all talking about? I watched Charlie the Chocolate Factory. What?
I didn't know. No, I didn't get that. We had depressing movies, like for some reason they wanted to show to kids. Like, hey, we're talking about World War II and it's already bad. Let's get you visual. Great movie.
I remember The Sound of Music and Amadeus.
Hated that movie.
I watched Amadeus. I watched Amadeus in music class. Actually, I do like that movie.
I watched The King and I
hated The Sound of Music.
I remember watching Amadeus and Glory.
Oh,
Glory.
That's a good one.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, and the teachers always walked out of the room. They'd start the movie and then walk out of the room. So I'm assuming that's what happened here. She just saw Winnie the Pooh, threw it in, and ran down to the teacher's lounge to get coffee and probably step out for a smoke because the kids were driving her nuts.
Man, that is actually, I didn't think about that. You might be right on that one. Yeah.
Well, one of the articles I read that said that the teacher allowed them to pick what they wanted to watch.
I think that's what happened too.
They picked that, and then the teacher probably left or whatever, and then they were like, "Hey, we don't want to watch this anymore."
Yeah, I think it was a trick or a harmless prank. We were all fourth graders before. I mean, like, I don't think she should lose her job over it. Is all.
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's not like she was like showing Debbie Does Dallas or some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's okay. It's a stupid fucking movie, and fourth graders shouldn't fucking watch it. But you know, like, I mean, think about it. Honestly, these days, those fourth graders, most of them have parents that are like all of us, so they probably already watched that shit, if not worse. You know, so I mean, like, I don't think anybody should lose their fucking job over it. That's just fucking stupid.
Yeah, I think everybody needs to calm down. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Simmer down now.
It's not like they showed a Martyrs or Terrifier 2 or something.
Oh, God. Martyrs in a fourth grade class? Oh, that's therapy, folks.
Nothing but love for you. Nothing but love.
Hello. Who's that? Can't see.
It's Michelle.
Michelle. See?
Emilio.
Oh, boy, in this one. Oh, my God.
See.
And remakes that nobody asked for news. Director Matthew Vaughn, known for the Kingsman series, Kick-Ass, several others, good movies. I'm a fan, actually. blew up the internet the other day by throwing his hat into the race of a remake of the Star Wars movies. That's what I said, Head. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Please. I'm at a point in my life where I just really don't care anymore. And I'll just leave it at that. So just please don't. Stop.
I don't really need a remake. If you have something to bring to the table to throw into the existing universe, just do that. Why?
It's ridiculous. I mean,
I'm not a hardcore fan, but it doesn't make sense to me. It makes about as much sense as George Lucas going back and remastering the originals with all the shitty digital stuff he put in.
I'll never
On shot
understand
first.
that.
So that's
Bad.
it. Just don't do it. Don't do it. I'm trapped at a video store.
Not
I've
gonna
got
do it.
nothing to lose.
Not gonna do it.
Nothing to lose. Sylvester Stallone recently posted on his Instagram that he has several ideas in place for a Rocky prequel TV series that would take the boxing. That was the reaction I was looking for, Chuck. Thank you. That would take him back to life in the 1960s.
I was really hoping you were going to say something about Cobra. I was like, please, just give us, like, dude, that'd be cool as fuck right now.
That could be, yeah.
That would actually be really cool right now. Give us a Cobra TV series. You know? That'd be kind of cool. You get away with a lot these days, too. I don't care about Rocky.
No matter how good the story is, how are we going to do it?
As long as you have Cobra making sure he cuts his pizza with a pair of just ordinary house scissors, that's it.
And pulls it out of the freezer, because that's what people do. I've never kept leftover pizza in the freezer. I still don't understand that, but I do love that movie.
That's because you're not Cobra.
This is very true.
I can't take the news anymore. I'm done. There's more news stories here, but they suck just as bad. So we're just going to move on. And let's get to our main event for the evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're coming up on the 38th anniversary, I believe, of the series, like 1985. I feel old, but here we are. We're talking about cult horror comedy classic, RE-ANIMATOR. And I must admit, I haven't seen this. I've only seen it like once or twice, and it was a lot. Like I was telling Jeff before we came on, like I'm kind of a ignoramus when it comes to these movies.
What?
I've only seen the original.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Terrible, Dave.
There's the man. Herbert
West.
I love Jeffrey Combs, man.
Oh, dude,
and the Frighteners. Oh man, when he comes out, I pop every time.
Oh, dude,
He's so good.
I mean, think of like the RE-ANIMATOR movies, Castle Freak, the Frighteners. The man's. I mean, he was even in that. What was it? Night of the Living Dead, reanimated or whatever it was. That wasn't that great, but he was still great in that. Like. He's been in so many damn movies. We were talking about this, me and Whitman were, because we went to Scarefest the other day. And we were actually discussing Jeffrey Combs and how, like, because I'd never met him and he has. And we talked about how Jeffrey Combs has got such a wide variety of movies and TVs been in. Like, he can be at, like, the comic cons. He can be at the horror cons. Like, just anything that says con on it, he can pretty much be, you know. Because he was also in, like, I think it was in Babylon 5 or one of the Star Trek movies or some shit. Star Trek TV show. Yeah. Like, the guy, yeah. But this is by far, I mean, I love the short stories by H.P. Lovecraft, even though they were Lovecraft's least favorite stories he ever wrote. It was just his way of ripping off Frankenstein. But, like, you know, but these movies, like, I love the whole thing about it because I am a Frankenstein fan. I think this is like one of the best retellings, or, you know, kind of like Nosferatu wasn't Dracula. You know what I mean? Like, RE-ANIMATOR is kind of like, it's not Frankenstein, but it kind of is. Like, just it's like extreme Frankenstein. Yeah.
It has that feel.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Went on a tangent there. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. Go ahead, because it's another just fun franchise.
Yeah.
It's another just fun movie that, like, you know, like I was saying earlier, a lot of other people for Halloween are doing your standard nightmares, Fridays, Halloweens. We like to do something a little different, bring up some maybe hidden gems that people either haven't seen or like me haven't seen in a long time. And be reminded. Yeah, that was the first time I saw Bride of RE-ANIMATOR, and I loved it.
Oh, dude, I love that one.
Yeah,
so
it
much.
really goes off the wall. That's when it gets really crazy.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got to rectify the fact that I haven't seen the sequels. And
They're good.
We'll get to everything.
You got to at least see Bride of RE-ANIMATOR. Beyond RE-ANIMATOR.
I've heard that wasn't very good.
The third one's funny.
It's different.
It's not.
It doesn't have the heart of the first two.
Agreed. Completely.
Right. Yeah, that's what I said. It's funny.
And that's the one he's in prison, right? I saw a trailer for it, but that
dubious.
But it does have a it does have a rat running around with a severed penis. So
it does. They're fighting. The penis and the rat are fighting.
Okay.
Sold.
He's like, huh?
Take my money now.
Let me get on this.
Like oh my bad.
Oh, I was just going to say it surprised me the budget of this film was about $1 million, which kind of surprised me. I thought it was a little lower than that, but brought in $2 million, so it doubled its budget, which is also surprising with a film like this. Normally they don't have good theatrical runs,
Right.
Yeah.
Especially the timing, because I think it came out in the middle of Halloween, the middle of the season. I'm not sure what it went up against in '85. I don't remember, but
I don't know. October 18th, 1985.
But there you go, gentlemen. What are your memories of this film? Have you guys? I know Nasty. Have you? Did you watch this film when you were a kid? Were you kind of late coming to it for the first time? How?
Who?
I'll go. I'll go.
Nasty.
Go
ahead, Jeff. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Let Chuck go then. Go ahead. Let's go.
Okay. No, well, what's funny is I had seen Bride of RE-ANIMATOR before I saw the original RE-ANIMATOR.
Ah.
Okay. Buddy of mine had it on VHS. I was probably early years of high school. We would just like hang out, and put on movies and like, do stupid shit on the internet and that kind of dumb shit kids do. And I remember it being like it was really cool, but it didn't hit me that I really liked it until later on. And it was only 15, 16 years ago maybe that I really saw that I saw the first one and just fell in love with it. Just everything about it. Like I said, being someone who's a fan of the Frankenstein, stories and mythos and all that. I love the whole idea of it. It's a little more sinister. It's of course there's the comedic element. It's about as perfect as like Hatchet is. You know what I mean? It's like a movie that's well written, that has the gore, it has the scares, but it also has those funny parts where you're like, that's actually funny. The scene with they reanimate the cat. Me and my stepdad laughed our asses off like rewatching that like a few years back. Because it's hilarious. Like, oh my god, because it's the little slapstick humor that this movie has. It's appealing. It's not boring. It's pretty straightforward, and then again going over to Bride, it gets even crazier. the dog with the man hand. Come on, good shit.
I like the head with the bat wings. What was that doctor's name again?
Dr. Hill.
Dr. Hill.
Yeah.
He was in Creepshow, I believe, too. The Crate.
David
was that the same guy?
Mm-mm. Was it?
Oh, that wasn't the same guy?
I didn't think it was the same guy.
No, they look similar, but it's not the same guy. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think I looked at it before. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a lot of the actors from the 80s for some reason that are easy to mix up.
They look just alike, though.
The chick from Raiders of the Lost Ark and Margot Robbie, I always got mixed up.
He was in Tales from the Dark Side.
Maybe that's because I used to watch that show all the time. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. But
was in the movie or the show?
The show, right?
Oh, the movie.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking of Tales from
Oh,
the
no, it was a
Dark Side.
TV. It was the TV series. It was a TV.
I'm all fucked up now. I'm so confused. I don't even know anymore. I'm just gonna
But
drive.
he does look a lot like the guy from Creepshow, though. Completely. Okay. Thought I froze there for a second. Nope,
no, you're good. That's us freezing. Like I said, we're like we're scrambled tonight. Maybe we need some serum.
Right.
I forgot my reagents, so I'm screwed.
I never thought to drink it before. That's what she said.
What? He says that all the time.
Canceled. But no, like I'm kind of a sucker for. I mean, like this movie does have like again the Frankenstein thing, but like I'm also like I've always been crazy like about like science stuff when I was a kid, and creating different potions or different like serums and different shit like that, So like even as I got older, shit still like appeals to me. It's got dead people coming back from like coming back from the dead, being reanimated, and like I don't know, it's just it's a fun fucking movie. And like, some of that is well, I mean, there's I was wearing with back when me and my kid's mom were together, and we went to a family thing, and her mom looked at my shirt and she goes, "That movie's just dirty." I was like, "Why is it dirty?" And she goes, "Oh, you know why?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "That head had sex with that woman." And I was like, "Well," and that's a very infamous scene. That whole thing, it's so cringy. I've always been in love with you.
How he delivers every line. I love it. It's so fucking over the top. And it's great. It reminded me, it took me back to Basket Case. When we did Basket Case a few weeks ago when he's
Oh yeah.
I won't bring the. You know what part I'm talking about.
When the blob is wetting his pud, yeah, we know. That's about as awkward as the scene in this one. But I mean, to be Barbara Crampton in this movie, like how awkward was it? To maybe that's why he like old dude like couldn't wait to be that character, because he like got to be like right there like all like licking on her and shit. Like what? That's gonna be awkward for an actress in movies like these. Like Jesus
I'm sure
Christ.
for Barbara Crampton, it probably wasn't that awkward. I mean, she's done adult films and stuff like that, so it was probably like, no big deal.
Another day at the office.
Now for David Gale, he's probably like, you're going to pay me to do this?
I signed up for free. No, she was in adult films.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Chuck's going back to the door.
Yeah.
Duly
Go to
noted.
the back of the store.
That's your section. That's your section, Chuck.
Yeah. Nasty.
Back
corner.
behind the curtain.
Yeah.
But like you said, she's a champ for being such a good sport and being able to go through with this probably for low pay. With this being a low budget film, it was just one of those things where they were like, "Oh, we're gonna have him do this to you," and she's like, "Okay." She was a good sport, and it was a weird scene, but a very memorable scene.
KO Durf.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once again, we go back to the practical effects, and a lot of it seems like it was really tough to do. Like a long, rough day at the office for some of the stuff. I feel like with those practical effects.
Well, like with the head with David Gale, I mean, obviously he's just sitting underneath the table with his head sticking up through, but he had to do that all day long. I think they were even saying that Jeff Combs had to, hold his cigarette for him whenever he wanted to smoke because he couldn't get out of there. He was in there. Nowadays they throw it just be CGI crap.
Yeah.
Right. It works. It works.
Walking around with somebody's hands on your head, all that you
supposedly that scene is what caused him to get a divorce from his wife. Whenever she finally saw the scene, she was like, "What the fuck?
We're done."
And divorced him because I mean he was like licking on her tit for real.
Yeah, look at her tit, and his face was right there.
His face is right there between her legs.
The holiest of holies. And his wife was probably like, "I kissed you many times after that. You son of a bitch."
He's like, "I have to get it on the movie set because you won't satisfy me anymore."
Oh my god! All kinds of fun.
You said you lied to me. You said you were going to be a little head, not give a little head.
Semantics, dear. Semantics.
Like, no, I said just the head.
Yeah. What does everybody want?
Whoa, easy, big fella. Yeah, fucking directed by Stuart Gordon. Shot in only 18 days. They said.
Really?
18 days.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fucking impressive.
That's pretty crazy.
Yep.
Holy
Very
shit.
low budget from Full Moon Entertainment. You know, these guys were doing all kinds of stuff as Charles and Albert Band rather. That was their thing. You know, low budget flicks, trying to turn it into something on the VHS market. Albert Band was the father. He produced a bunch of stuff back in the 60s, like the original Young Guns and a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, those guys.
Did it have
were
a
putting this stuff
theatrical
out.
run? Was it in theaters, or did it just go straight to video?
I think it had a small theatrical run.
Okay, yeah, because back in the '80s, VHS like changed the game completely because you found a whole new audience. Like, I mean, ask John Carpenter. The Thing, Big Trouble in Little China, etc., 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 bombed at the box office, but found a whole new audience when it came to home video, and that happened a lot, especially with horror movies.
And that was the business
And
tactic,
porn.
especially yeah. That was the tactic. It's like, let's try to make this for as little as possible and put it out there on the VHS market and make our money. They weren't really concerned with having a big theatrical release or big box office stuff like that. They knew they were making low budget films, so it was just one of those things that catered to a specific audience.
Man, Stuart Gordon, I'll tell you what, like him and Combs, they've worked on some great ones together. I mean, the RE-ANIMATOR movies, From Beyond, which was another one. Oh shit, there was and Castle Freak. He did Stuart Gordon did that one too, didn't he?
I believe so.
I believe, yeah. Like, so I mean, those are some of my favorite ones. Like, they just, I don't know, I guess when you have the right actors, you don't ever want to get rid of them. Which Jeffrey Combs, like we've already sung his praises a lot, but whatever. He's one of those. He's kind of like a Lance Hendrickson or something that goes into a scene and like you're just kind of enthralled with the scene because like he's such a good actor, So I could totally understand that. Now, why that also makes me wonder about Rob Zombie and Sharon Moon, but that's a whole other thing.
That's a whole other thing. That's not the same thing. Totally.
Totally
agree.
Pussy over talent,
So I was looking it up real quick. Apparently, RE-ANIMATOR did get a theatrical run in 129 theaters and grossed just over $500,000 its opening weekend.
Yeah,
that's not bad, actually.
Actually, I knew it was actually in theaters. Because my stepdad, that's when he told me he saw it. He said back in the day when it came out, him and his buddies got really stoned and drank a lot of beers out in the parking lot and went inside, and they said everybody just laughed their asses off and just loved it. That's why he gets a kick. That's why he got a kick. He got a kick out of me getting a tattoo of it. It's like I like it.
But they were up against some tough competition. Commando, Back to the Future.
Oh, right.
Shit.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah, I forgot about Commando.
So,
man,
three classic movies now by today's standards.
Right. Oh, completely.
And RE-ANIMATOR's right up there with them at this point. I mean, it had a smaller opening, but shit.
Wow.
I feel they were probably just trying to take advantage of it being a horror film coming out a couple weeks before Halloween, get that audience, make that money.
Right.
And then really make the money off home video. So yeah. But again, like our friend from Mr. Manhattan from Scene Snobs pointed out, that studios back in the day usually get their template from porn. And porn at the time made huge money from home videos, many of which we have in the store, by the way. Just saying. And they follow that template. It was an untapped audience at the time. Are you okay, Head? Good. Just checking.
Yes.
You're quiet over there for a while. I wonder what happens if I take this shit. Would I get like superpowers?
You take a shit.
This shit.
It's strange when you look at Stuart Gordon's resume, because it's like you have all these crazy films that he's directed or anything, but it's like he was one of the writers for Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, you know,
right?
And it's like stuff like that. He was involved.
More mad scientist shit.
Yeah, I mean, he was involved with that whole franchise. So it's one of those things where, you know, he probably, you know, did the mainstream stuff to kind of finance the other stuff that he wanted to do, or, you know.
But that's kind of crazy though, because I mean, for the most part, minus like Castle Freak, like all the main ones that you really hear about that he has to deal with, even in, you know, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, it's all has to do with like scientists and weird contraptions and things of that nature. Huh, makes sense.
Science gone awry.
I mean, it's a reoccurring theme. You know, even with Combs, he plays doctors all the time. Very, I wouldn't say typecast, but very similar roles in a lot of these films. I mean, even he did that Dr. Mordred, which was the Doctor Strange ripoff. Well, actually, you know, it was like the bootleg version. I guess you couldn't say it's a ripoff because it was just the comics back then. You didn't have the DC the films that you have now with Doctor Strange, but it was very strange. It was very strange film.
It's a very weird film. I saw it recently via MST3K, and I was like, "Well, that's a thing."
Oh,
that's right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
And oddly enough, it has that Brian Thompson that we've talked about previously.
Oh yeah,
from Commando, or not Commando,
Cobra. Nice.
Yeah, he shows up a lot. He's another one of those actors that you forget his name, but you know his face. You could you could pick him out.
Gordon always said too this. Well, Gordon always said too, like he'd always remember this movie because they used 24 gallons of fake blood, and like most of his movies, he wouldn't use any more than 4.
Nice.
God damn.
I mean, there's some good blood splatters. You know, that's for damn sure. I mean, even down to the sequels. I mean, mainly Bride of RE-ANIMATOR, whatever. Man, so there's some killer like body horror and just disgusting gore involved in these. That's just like, I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought. Am I on the right page? What you were talking about? I don't fucking know.
That's all right.
Yeah, I mean that, especially with the second film,
lots of blood.
Yeah, okay.
Like
blood.
you were saying, like it has the format of like the Hatches and everything we've talked about before, but it's different because it's more of a story that's well written. You can tell the influence of H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh, yeah.
You know, even though this is one of his least favorite works, it's still good. It's not like he phoned it in. It was like, you know.
Oh yeah. He's
just like, it's still good story.
Yeah, there's the Herbert West Chronicles or something like that. It's like there's I can't remember how many stories are actually a part of it. Yeah, he was just trying to make some extra money at the time, and the magazine that he was writing stories for, they needed something, and he was just like, he just like shed it out there basically. I mean, I've got them up there in a collection. They're great stories, so anybody has a chance, go check those out. They're fun, especially if you know about RE-ANIMATOR. Which I hope at this point, since we haven't really said what the movie's really about, I hope everyone watching.
Yeah, we just dove right in.
Yeah. Yeah,
and I mean, they said that Lovecraft only got paid for each one he wrote, $5. But by today's standards, it'd be like $73 or something. They said.
Yeah.
But you know, like you said, he just kind of threw it together to try to make money, and that's just, I think it's a testament to Lovecraft and his ability, because it's like, oh, you know, I'm just going to throw this in, and it's still great work, and that's why he's one of the most revered writers, you know, especially in the horror genre.
Without him, we wouldn't have Stephen King.
A lot of stuff.
We wouldn't have. He was one of the first, yeah. Which also is a double, you know, reason why I love this movie is the fact that it is Lovecraft, you know, but. Yeah.
Yeah, Fulci was heavily influenced by.
Oh, big time. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, fuck. Lovecraft has influenced so much. I mean, there's so many movies that even movies that aren't really said to be Lovecraft, they're Lovecraftian. Like that's even a word, Lovecraftian. You know what I mean? With Cthulhu and all that shit. Yeah, huge influence on a lot of people. I'm glad they actually made this movie. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
I just like that this movie opens with a scene that kind of lets you know exactly what you're in for.
Right.
With the patient, that guy's eyes just bursting, and you're just like, okay,
All right.
buckle up. I guess this is where we're going.
Yeah,
I didn't kill him. I gave him life.
Great line. And he delivers it so well.
Still, my favorite line is whenever he finds the cat and he's like, you should have called. You should have did something. He's like, what am I going to do? Leave a note. Says cat's dead. Details later.
That's the other thing. It's Herbert West and his humor and his smart-ass lines. Find a job in a sideshow. Like even and in the second one, he says a bunch of other shit that I'm drawing blank on now that I was trying to remember when I was watching it last night. But I love his one-liners.
It's really good. His one-liners are good. It's the fact that he has such a smart-ass sense of humor. I mean, even just snapping the pencils when he's in the class, just snapping, just staring Dr. Hill in the eyes, like you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. I'm just gonna distract.
Because he knows he's smarter than everybody else.
I suggest you buy a pen.
How much of the film came from the books?
A decent amount. They said that.
Was it from all three or just the first one?
I'm not sure, but
it's been a while since I've read them. But it's pretty much they mix and match different things that were in the stories that they threw in the movies.
And then I'm really curious about the short stories now.
And then threw in more of a Frankenstein type influence.
Yeah.
Gordon wanted to be more Frankensteinian, just because he felt like there was too many Dracula vampire films out there. He don't make enough Frankenstein stuff.
I agree.
It seems to me, yeah.
I think that maybe Frankenstein might have been the first horror movie I ever saw. It was either Frankenstein or Creature from the Black Lagoon. I don't remember, but they used to sell those black and white movies at the VHSs at a department store called Hills, where we lived, and they had just a little rack, like they had the old Batman serials that they played in theaters. They had 2 VHS tapes. They had, like I said, Creature from the Black Lagoon. And I remember my parents took me to the video store when I was a kid. And it was like when I just learned how to read, kind of. I was still in grade school and I saw Frankenstein. And I was like, ooh, that's Frankenstein?
It's like everybody's introduction. Because I can't remember if Frankenstein was one of the first. He wasn't the first. But it was one of the first horror films that I watched. Just because, like, my dad used to tape them for me on American Movie Classics, on Saturday nights, whatever the fuck it was, and Sundays after we got home from church. I was down in the basement watching these horror movies. Frankenstein was always one of the greatest. Again, goes back to the appeal of RE-ANIMATOR.
I found out some weird news that apparently this is David Bowie's favorite movie.
Really? Interesting.
Was, but yeah,
RE-ANIMATOR.
Yeah, so I was just saying, David Bowie's. It was David Bowie's.
Oh yeah.
Oh well, yeah.
Unfortunately, but yeah, no, I feel like I've actually heard that before. There's a lot of people in music that really love this movie. A lot of metal bands have referenced RE-ANIMATOR that are pretty cool songs that I've heard. You can only imagine.
I love this.
This film. This film allegedly David Bowie's favorite film.
We just said. Did we just say that?
Huh?
He stole your line.
Did you? I don't know.
Oh, the head did.
Did he?
Yeah.
My earphone came out. And plugged
Okay,
in.
I'm just traveling back in time.
Oh Jesus!
Oh, God.
Shit's falling.
Whoa, easy.
Shit's falling.
That's
There, I
some
got
rough
you.
living.
Daddy's got you.
I lost my
Daddy's
pen.
got you. Daddy's
Keep my
got
head
you.
fucking juiced up.
Okay. Daddy will give you a little more. Gimme.
Canceled.
Yeah, don't listen to the audio version of this podcast, people. But no, I love this. I love us hanging out and talk, especially like a movie I'm not too familiar with. you learn a lot about from you guys, and sometimes from the chat, but our chat's pretty quiet tonight, but that's understandable. This is kind of a weird one.
I think it's still weird even all these years later, because I still run across people who are like, what's Reanimator? Like, I don't even think my wife has seen it. I was watching it the other day. She goes, what's that? I'm like, Reanimator? She's like, oh. I was just like, I'm going to have to show it to her at some point. Of course, then I'm going to have to see the sequels, read the short stories. But I still think there's a lot of people that don't know about this.
Yeah, the early 2000s was the first time I ever saw it. And
same.
Then I went back and watched it again, I think like Thursday night. And that was the first time I've seen it since. It was the first time I ever saw Bride.
I think the first time I saw it was probably on HBO, somewhere in there, late one night. Because all I remember is the head scene from the end. And then it's like whenever I went back and watched it, like it came back to me. But like, that's what stood out from me all those years ago, because it was just so fucked up. It's like, what the fuck is this movie? It's so weird.
Yeah, I love this movie whenever I saw it. Like, I don't know, I've seen it whenever I was in high school at some point. And then I remember Mike took me to the first horror con I went to, and I was like, he's like, Jeffrey Combs is going to be there. And I was like, fucking sweet. And that was the good old days when everybody fucking charged like $10.
Mm-hmm.
So I just fucking went in there and racked them all out.
Hell yeah.
You could run through and get everybody to sign it for like $100 and you're good.
Now
it's $100 for one signature.
Oh, dude, when I really got into Re-Animator, I'd watched it because the first time I actually really watched it was on YouTube for free. I'd found it on there, like, just I was looking at a bunch of shit or whatever. Because at Scarefest, I think it was the first year that I was supposed to go. Yeah, it was the first year. The cast was supposed to be there. So, like, and me and my family, we were going to go and everything, and I was all excited about it. And my goal was, like, Re-Animator, and they all canceled one by one, like, the day before.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. So I was, like, so bummed. So, like, my whole thing was to go there and, like, get something Re-Animator. And I ended up buying the DVD for about $10 more than I probably should have. But when I want something, I get it, or I get pissy.
Understandable.
When it went back home and made my entire family watch it with me, and that was when me and my stepdad laughed our asses off. And when it was done, I asked my mom, I was like, what'd you think? And she kind of laughed. She goes, it was stupid. I was like, but you liked it. I was like, but you liked it, didn't you? And she goes, yeah, it was all right. I was like, there's sequels. And she goes, we'll talk.
That's good.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I got some fond memories of this movie. This is also one of those movies that, like, I can watch pretty much any time. It's got complete rewatchability. And it's also one of those that, like, if somebody's like, what's Re-Animator? I go, oh, you got 2 hours? You know what I mean? Like, give me any excuse in the book. I mean, it's on my arm for a reason. You know what I mean? And the sequel. I mean, I love them both about the same. I mean, I think they're both good films. That's the thing about, like, full moon movies and shit. You kind of, like, when you think of Full Moon and all that, you think of, like, really cheesy ass shit, whatever. And I'm not saying these movies are like,
Puppet Master.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I think
Puppet Master, Trancers, Subspecies.
Yeah.
All these fucking weirdo stuff.
Like
Ginger Dead Man.
Evil Bong.
Yeah, I love Evil Bong. I love Evil Bong. So ridiculous. There's like 20 of those now. But the Re-Animator movies, they have a certain the first two, because the third one looks like it was made by, like, Showtime, possibly Skinamax. But the first two, they have a certain feeling about them where they're kind of raw, but, like, the acting isn't horrible. The acting's actually pretty good. The effects are pretty cool. The story's, like, good, and in Bride Re-Animator, the weird ass things that Herbert West, it's just like those moments, like, if you notice it in the sequel, he had going off, but same, whatever. He has a thing. He just has such an addiction to reanimating stuff that, like, okay, when the dog dies, okay, dog's dead, there's an arm right there, and the dog's missing a leg. And Herbert West just kind of looks at it and goes, And the next scene, old girl's like, oh, whatever the dog's name was. And then his fucking man's hand comes like reaching out at, it's like, you can't not laugh at that, but also be completely horrified. I mean, connecting legs and like a woman's legs and like arms together with like eyeballs, like running around. Like, I just,
he takes like the four fingers and attaches it to an eyeball.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just running around.
That was a good little gag.
That got real close to being a tattoo on me at one point. I almost did it, and I went with just getting Herbert West instead. Which is funny because everybody thinks that this is Rick Moranis. So it goes back to the Stuart Gordon.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I'm like, why would I have Rick Moranis on my horror arm?
Why wouldn't you have Rick Moranis on your horror arm?
Is that the Keymaster?
He was the Keymaster.
Okay. All right. And he was something horror too.
Yes, have some.
Yeah, true. But it's not Herbert fucking West.
But it's so great.
I was thinking about Rick Moranis and I lost my train of thought.
Not words you usually hear from your friends. Mike?
No, I was going to say the comedic element is so good. Jeffrey Combs does, he's so deadpan when he does this stuff, but it comes across so well. And the Herbert West character is just completely obsessive. And all he cares about is his work. That like he has no, he's completely asexual. You can tell he has no interest in women, anything like that. It's just his life is his work, and he wants to test any kind of theory, anything. It's like, let me inject this animal. Let me inject this person. Let me do this. Let me do that. He has no concern. He has no, it's like, we have to talk about Bruce Abbott here, but coming up, but Dan he's like, he wants to help people. Like he joins Herbert to try to further this cause because he thinks it's going to help people. But Herbert West doesn't care about helping people. He just wants the fame and the accolades and the praise for being the smartest man, and coming up with this way to defeat death. And that's why that character is just so obsessive and so linear, where he just laser focused on his work and nothing else.
I mean, he shows that whenever he kills Hill, because Hill's there to steal his glory.
Mm-hmm.
And then he fucking chops his head off. And then as he's sitting there with the head in the pan, he's like, parts. I haven't done body parts. So then he fucking does it up. And
that's pretty much the only emotion he shows at all is whenever somebody challenges him in his work, then he gets mad. But anything else, he's just so deadpan, straightforward. I don't even know if he smiles in this whole franchise.
I don't think he does. Herbert West and Dan's whole relationship is like, it works because they're so opposite,
Mm-hmm.
But it also is those comedic moments, like with the cat and in Bride Reanimator, where they're sneaking the corpse out in the wheelchair, and they're both trying to walk out or whatever, and like Herbert West has like got her head, and like she's just, and then she like slumps over and she just, and everybody's like looking at him, and then like Dan's like long lost girlfriend or whatever the fuck shows up, and he just kind of looks at him and goes, and he runs over to her, and Herbert West just looks so irritated, and it's just like, man, it's like the worst, but like I don't know, it's like Weekend at Bernie's moment, you know what I mean? It's like the sunglasses falling off and all that shit. Like, I don't know, it's just kind of perfect.
Well, he laughs in the beginning whenever he does bring the cat back to life, after like fucking Dan throws it against the wall, and then he's like panting and shit. Then you hear Herbert he's like, look out, and then he just starts laughing, and he's like, sorry, I couldn't help myself.
That twisted sense of humor. But I love the fact that they show you right away from the beginning just how obsessed with his work Herbert is. Like right off the bat, even with that guy, I gave him life. And then they show you how obsessed with helping people live Dan is. He's he's the
good and evil
best guy in this. Mm-hmm. He's like the good of the best of the best, basically. Not the movie, but because he keeps trying to revive that woman. They're like, we've done all we can. He's like, no, she needs more time. He's so willing to go that extra mile. Whereas Herbert would be like, we could just inject her and see what the hell happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's already dead.
Yeah, she's already dead. Let's just move on to the next thing.
Well,
it's so good that they're so opposite, but it works. Like Chuck was saying, it just works, that relationship they have.
Yeah, it's like they're the angel and the demons on the shoulders.
Yeah,
Right.
That's a good way of putting it.
The scene in RE-ANIMATOR when that main girl that they end up hooking up to being the bride, when she actually dies, when she just dies, like West is right there and he's just like, oh, we gotta cut her open, and just like immediately he's like, man, it's like all that blood splatters up in Dan's face. He's just like in shock. Like, I don't know, for some reason it just cracks me up because he just walks in and he's just like, oh, cut her open. It's like, I don't know, it's great. And he always seems to talk Dan into it.
I just like how, like, at the end, whenever Dan's in shock and he just like crawls on top of him, he's like, "You're going into shock. It's okay. We have it recorded."
Yeah, because that's where his head's at. And it's just, I don't know. I can't help but I kind of admire it a little bit. I wish I could turn my emotions off.
Well, I mean, he's really good at bantering because he knows, like I said, he knows he's so smart. Even down like one of the moments I really like with the detective who's bitching about his wife. He's like, "You did this to my wife, blah, blah." He's like, Did I do this, wife? Because if I remember correctly, when she actually died, her head was bashed in with, like, da da da. And like pinpointed this guy was the asshole. He abused his wife till she died. So it's not his fault. He brought her back to life and all that shit. I don't know. Cause he totally just like, he knows how to put people in their place. He'd be a great insult comic.
Herbert West insult comic. That's money.
Bunch of scientific jokes.
We even like starts attacking Dr. Hill straight from the jump as soon as he's in class because he's like, "You're ripping off the other fucking doctor." What was the other guy's name? Grant or some shit? The guy he killed.
I just watched this yesterday and I can't remember now. But yeah, basically say you're just ripping off his work and not even giving him credit.
Right.
Passing it off as your own.
6 to 12 minutes, please.
But yeah, I kind of admire that, and I wish I could like turn my emotions off and just be laser focused on whatever task like that, because that's the total opposite of me.
I mean, even though they're partners in this whole thing, him and Dan, he has no consideration for Dan whatsoever. He doesn't care. Like, he just looks at Dan as a person that he can use to help him do his work. You know, he's a lackey. He's a lackey. He doesn't.
He's the means to an end.
Yeah,
he
doesn't care. He
Igor.
doesn't care. He doesn't want Dan to live happily ever after with Meg or Gloria or Francesca or any of these women that come along. It's like
it's his Igor.
Yeah, and it's like, all these women are distractions.
Yeah,
like, no,
exactly.
we need to focus on the work.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Right.
I mean, if anyone else had posted they had a room to rent on that board, Herbert would have gone for anybody. It didn't have to be Dan, but Dan just happened to be the guy that goes, "Oh, you've got a room. I need a place to stay so I can work on my stuff, and I'll just see if I can use you to come along for the ride."
Yeah, and he just boozed right in.
Yeah. You know, I'm gonna say, if you
say like, "Hey, would this be a good
This'll
idea?"
do.
Just like, "I'm here. I'll take it."
Yeah,
exactly. This will do. It's just like,
he's an asshole as he walks in the door.
What?
You could also tell like he had Dan like wrapped up as soon as he saw the whole cat thing, and then he explained what was going down. And after that, like, he was just fucking followed him whatever he wanted to do.
We can save lives. Yeah, we can save them. Very, very manipulating, you know. But you know, I got to say though, I when I write sometimes, it's not a bad idea to have the Herbert West mindset when you're like, you know, when you said, Dave, about being straight focused on shit or whatever. Maybe that's the way to be. It's just like, if you're doing stuff, just think of what would Herbert West do. He would be focused.
That's what I need to start saying to myself. What would Herbert West do?
That's probably not the greatest thing for every situation, but
why that merch somewhere? We forgot the "What would Jesus do?" We need "What would Herbert West do?"
What would Herbert? That's what I'm. How much does a billboard cost? I wonder if
that'd be hilarious.
That shit around town.
That'd be great.
But I mean, that's the mindset that's getting everything done. I mean, if you took Dan's mindset or anybody else's, they'd be like, "No, we got to stop here." He's all constantly drawing lines in the sand, and Herbert just ignores that completely.
It's like in like the third one, whenever he gets like the neutrons or whatever, like the little thing, he's like, "You can do rat to human." He's like, "Sure." He's like, "Fuck it, let's do this."
Yeah, I kind of want to find that one now. The more you're selling this movie to me, Head.
I think it's fucking hilarious.
It has his moment.
Beyond Reanimator, it's like I said, it has a different feel than the other ones do, but it's still Jeffrey Combs, so it's still Herbert West, so you still got that. Dan's not in it, but you've got like a new lackey basically, and like the whole. It's an interesting concept because he is in prison, and then but you should be able to find it on Tubi or something.
It's on Tubi.
Yeah, it's on Tubi. Yeah,
It's on Screenbox.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, it's not horrible. Now I'll tell you what I found out is there's a fourth. Somebody made a fourth one called Curse of the Reanimator. Yeah. Jeffrey Combs is not in it. I guess it's like a young Herbert West. It's garbage. I clicked on it and I was kind of skimming through it and I was like, this is horrible.
Well, it's supposed to be a series too, but
so is Curse a prequel? Is that?
I didn't even. I just skimmed through it to see, and I was like, this is shit. So I just don't even count that. Don't even bother with that one. It's a trilogy in my opinion. That one's an offshoot, not made by anybody. Has to do with the other three. So yeah,
well, that's too bad.
Yeah, but the third one again, it's not. It's not horrible. It is more. It is cheesier. It is the way it looks is different. It has more of like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but I know what you mean when you say that Showtime. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I know what you mean when you say that.
There's a certain look to those movies that were direct to Cinemax or direct to video. They all have that certain look.
Yeah.
And those of us of a certain age, we know it right away. As soon as something comes on, we're like, "Oh, this was a
is
straight
it porn or is it horror?"
Yeah.
Is it soft core? Or is it Witchboard 7?
Beyond Reanimator comes across more polished, I think, and it feels more studio-ish than the other ones. The other two feel a little bit more gritty, a little bit more grungy. The effects are so good in the second one. K&B Studios came in and they just brought those little characters and everything, all the creatures to life. And did such a good job. And you don't really have much of that in the third film. Plus, Bruce Abbott isn't back, so the dynamic between Dan and Herbert isn't there anymore. They bring in Dr. Phillips, and it just doesn't feel the same.
Okay.
So, it's different. It feels different, and I just don't enjoy it as much. It has its moments, but the first two are the better ones.
I totally agree. I mean, I just now recently started actually giving the third one more of a chance. I've watched it a few times in the past couple of years, and it's like, okay, I've watched the first two. I want more Reanimator, which I would say then that's when you go to just go ahead and pick up the H.P. Lovecraft stories and read those. Then when you need more, you have Beyond sitting over there. But the first two are just classics, and they're so fucking good.
Yeah, as soon as you said Dan wasn't in it, it really turned me off from it because I think I like that, and I think that's because we all I think relate to Dan a lot more than we do Dr. West.
Yeah, I don't know anyone.
Chuck's not sure. I wish I was Herbert West, but I am Dan. I think is what. But I wish I was Herbert West.
We strive to be Herbert West, but we're only Dans.
Yes, that's exactly it.
That's great. I gotta remember that.
You're a bunch of Dans.
A bunch of Dans
in this motherfucker.
Yeah, it turns out that Dan turned state's evidence against Herbert West, so that's why he's in prison.
Yeah,
okay. That's the explanation. The one-liner explanation that he gives. My last assistant turned state's evidence on me.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, at least we're all not ending up like Dean Halsey.
No.
True.
Yeah. But I gotta say, the change of that actor from the beginning when you see him, he's just buttoned up and very straight laced, and then he's just out of his fucking mind when he comes back. It's so good. It's so fun to watch. It's like, I just imagine that guy was having fun. They're like, just have fun with it, and he's just like an animal.
Yeah.
Basically.
Both of them, David Gale and Robert Sampson. They're so straight laced at the beginning of the film, and then once they turn into monsters, it's like night and day. And it's I think it's fun to see that kind of transition.
Yeah, David Gale goes like full supervillain.
Yeah,
totally.
Like, it's
and
so
I love
over
it.
the top, and I love every second of it because it's not gradual. It's from the jump. He's just here to here. It's like, all right.
And
It's
he
the
just
per-
had
the
that
perfect flow
voice
for
and
Herbert West.
that face, that voice.
West.
And, like, yeah, it was so good.
Blood gargling out of his mouth. Like,
You know,
that's the other thing. That's the other thing about these movies is the sound effects, because some of those gross moments that quick, like it's this little extra. You know what I mean? Oh,
the one thing that cracked me up was whenever fucking Hill's sneaking into the morgue and he has that fucking plastic head sitting on top of his neck, and it looks totally fucking goofy, but then he has like a mask on and he's all like backing into the fucking morgue and they're like, Dr. Hill, is that you? Yeah, that's me.
No big deal. Nothing to see here. Keep moving.
That's fine.
They said the part of Dr. Hill was actually offered to Christopher Lee. It was written for him.
Oh, really?
Oh, I could totally
I could see that.
for sure.
Too.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, wow.
That would have been interesting.
I'd been weird to see Christopher Lee doing that. Oh, I mean, that'd be kind of weird. I don't. Yeah, that'd be weird. That'd be weird seeing Christopher Lee do that one scene. But other than that, I could totally see it.
And we had to wait until Gremlins 2 to see Christopher Lee portray a mad
Oh.
scientist.
That's right.
True.
Yeah.
True. Which is a great role. Because Christopher Lee's awesome.
Oh,
so
man.
Yeah.
Well, they got the next best thing. They couldn't get Christopher Lee, so they do what they wanted with that role.
I
That's
mean,
for
you
sure.
couldn't see
really,
anybody else
yeah.
play that part other than him after you're watching it.
Or maybe the guy from the show.
And the big muscular guy that they end up reanimating that goes crazy there at the end of the first one. He was Arnold's stunt double in a bunch of different films. He was one of Arnold's good friends, Peter Kent, and you can tell that's a big dude. So
I remember reading that and I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense now looking at him.
And apparently, I think one of the first bodies that West reanimates at the hospital is named Hans Gruber. They said
Yes.
Which Die Hard doesn't come out for another 3 years. So
Yeah, I noticed that the other night whenever I was watching it. I was like, what the fuck?
I wasn't sure if I heard it right the first time, but then I think I looked at the cover or I saw something about it. And it was in fact Hans Gruber. I was like, huh.
I don't know why I've never heard that. I'm just watching the movie. I don't even pay attention. That's kind of crazy, though. Maybe
Now I'm gonna have to go back and pay more attention when I watch it again.
So some reanimator influence there. Die Hard. I mean, that's pretty. I mean, come on.
it's gotta be.
Well, that's yeah. There's no way that would.
where-
Yeah.
That's a coincidence.
It's just such a common name.
Yeah.
If I ever run into John McTiernan,
Could have
So
asked.
did you mean to rip off Reanimator? When you
What?
made the character Hans Gruber?
What do you mean? I've never seen that film.
Yeah.
This is Reanimator you speak of.
Never heard of it.
But
no,
I just wanted to say real quick though, that comes under to the like there's different types of movies you put with Reanimator or put together, and like Reanimator or like Phantasm, like they don't go together whatsoever. But for some reason, like I get the same feeling when I watch those two. Just the weirdness, the crazy story plot, like all that shit. Like I don't know, there was more to that, and I kind of like forgot. But
I think they said that whenever they were making it, they wanted it to come across kind of like Evil Dead, but with production value of The Howling.
Yeah.
So I can see that.
They even have the stop motion shit in there, which even works in this too.
No.
yeah,
I could see that. See, I love this. I love being stuck in this video store with you guys. Learn all kinds of fun things.
And the facility is the same one that they use for the Cyberdyne headquarters in T2.
Oh shit!
Okay.
I have to
then.
go back and look at
So
that.
we got it's interesting. We got the Arnold stunt double. We got the Cyberdyne for T2, and the third connection to Terminator is Bruce Abbott, who was married to Linda Hamilton, and
wow.
Okay.
their first child was
Herbert West.
young John, the baby John. It was Herbert West. Yeah, surprise. No, their first child was the young baby John Connor in the film.
Interesting.
Now
Okay.
my mind's blown.
She's just had that kid in '89.
Wow.
So and with Bruce Abbott. Interesting. Small world,
It
right?
is.
Yeah.
That's one.
The new Reanimator tied in the Terminator franchise so much.
Re-Terminator?
Reterminated.
Oh God.
Ooh, another. We're getting all these every week. I feel like we come up with a new crossover film that would be fucking phenomenal, and we've done it again. We've created life.
I'll be back to give you life.
Dr. West brings.
You're
back
welcome,
the dead to
Hollywood.
fight the fucking robots.
I go get the job in the sideshow.
See?
Do you imagine Jeffrey Combs and Arnold Schwarzenegger in a film?
That's perfect. Yes, totally. You had Arnold
No, but
Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. Now we got Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jeffrey Combs.
Or you can
Maybe
go
he'd be
even
the
better,
third brother.
and you do Sylvester Stallone and Jeffrey Combs in a movie together, or in a Cobra TV show, and that'd be cool. Make
And
Jeffrey
we come
Combs
full
like,
circle.
make Jeffrey Combs like the chief or whatever. Like he, always getting all pissed off at Cobra. You're still doing this shit, even after all these years. Yeah. Be great.
It's just a
Different
general
concept.
just grunting whenever resorts to a Sylvester Stallone impression.
Oh, of course.
This
Like,
is
what about your
great.
new movie, Sly?
It's like he talks. He talks how his eye looks. Anyway.
He'll never see this. That's fine.
No, he won't.
Surprise!
Sylvester.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
There you go,
Good
folks. Any final thoughts for the Reanimator series, or to add to our wonderful customers this evening?
There's also a musical, Reanimator musical.
Really?
I have not seen it, but yeah, a couple of years back, there was a. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can watch the whole thing. It might be on YouTube, or maybe you'll find it on like Tubi or some shit. Yeah, there was a musical that was going around for a while, and I think that there's comic books too of Reanimator.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
he's
they're
everywhere. They're everywhere. You can't stop Herbert West because I
I
think
think
we
they
all
have a Reanimator versus a Predator or some weird shit I saw earlier.
What?
what.
Something like that. I forget.
Now we're getting crazy. People. We're
What?
getting crazy.
It's a lot of bright green substances and fluids going
There
around.
might have been an Army of Darkness in Reanimator.
But I mean, it was originally adapted for stage, so the play isn't too far off from what they wanted to do. I think
Okay.
whenever they did the play, I think Stuart Gordon was even in it.
Oh
If I
wow.
remember correctly.
If there was a casting call around here for a Reanimator, I might actually look into that one.
I
That
feel
would
like
be a
you
lot
could-
of fun.
I feel like you could do it.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like you could be Herbert West, Dave.
Yeah, and I'll be in character for a couple weeks, so we might actually get some good content out of that.
And I think that's what kind of brings the Herbert West character to life is Jeffrey Combs' experience with theater. He was a Shakespearean actor.
I could tell.
Yeah, you could tell in all these performances that he does.
Mhm.
It's just Jeffrey Combs really makes this franchise more than anything, and they bring the H.P. Lovecraft story to life more so than anything. It's one of those ones where it surprises me that so few people know about this. It's kind of like a hidden gem as far as horror goes because he's one of the infamous anti-heroes in horror. You know, that you see whenever I think of people or characters, he's one of the ones that I picture. You know, along, you know, you have your Freddys and your Jasons, your Leatherfaces, your Michael Myers over on this side, but then you have you got your Herbert Wests and you got your Patrick Batemans and your Hannibal Lecters and your Jigsaws and your Carrie Whites. You know, and he's on the different spectrum, and he's up there with all those characters. And I think, I don't know if it's just that the Reanimator series, the franchise, is a kind of an acquired taste for some people, or it's just one of those ones that fell by the wayside and people just never gave it a chance. But definitely a very enjoyable film, very fun. The comedy, there's gore, there's nudity, you know, all the stuff that you would enjoy from a classic horror film.
Yeah, I can only speak on the original, but it's a lot of fun, and like you were saying, it may not appeal to everyone's taste, which could be why so many haven't seen it, because it doesn't toe the line. It steps over the line with its weirdness and its craziness, and I love it for it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And the fact that Jeffrey Combs is so committed to that character, chewing up the scenery, and just he's taking the role seriously where somebody else may not have.
Yeah,
so
right.
he's giving Herbert West something more than anyone else probably would have done. They would have just portrayed it a certain way and been done with it. And he's like, no, you got to give this more, and I'm going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, I feel
And
like
I think anyone who's into kind of weird shit, like if you like Phantasm, you'll like Reanimator because it's less weird than Phantasm.
Oh yeah, right, yeah. But you know, whatever. I was just gonna say I love this movie, and I think that it's a great one, and it blows my mind when people actually haven't heard of it. Like but when you meet the right horror fans, like the right people, they're like when you're like, oh, because a lot of times people I look at my arm, it always blows my mind. It's when somebody can guess who this is, or where they can guess that's the tall man. You know, and it's usually those two that's like, oh, okay, you really know your shit. At least enough to know about Reanimator. You know,
that's it was strange to me because it's like it feels like Phantasm kind of falls into that same category, but yet most people know the tall man, and less people know Herbert West.
Right.
True, very true.
All three of these movies are good for me. Like, I think they're funny. Like they get a little goofier as they go on, but they're still good watches. Like I've always kind of wondered how Dr. Hill's around in the second one because he got his head crushed at the end of the first one and thrown against the wall. But whatever. I don't ask questions because it's fucking funny. It's a good movie.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where it just kind of starts up in the second one. You're like, wait a minute, you know, didn't this happen to this guy? And didn't Wes get sucked in by these people? You know, and you think like, okay, and you're just like, okay, we're going along for the ride. Fucking
Fucking Wes gets choked out by a giant intestine, and then fucking her possessed or zombie lobotomized dad fucking crushes dude's head and throws it against the wall, and the fucking security guy's like, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
It's just one of those movies that earned a pass. Like we don't care. We just want to be along for the ride. Like you guys.
I mean, it has the Evil Dead 2 thing too. Like it's the same movie,
same thing,
just kind of changed up a little bit.
I gotta say with Beyond though, that opening scene, whenever you all watch it, who hasn't seen it, the opening scene is pretty. It's some pretty good gore. There's a guy that doesn't.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. So I definitely I give it that. It gets you from the beginning of the movie.
The kids are camping out back.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Even that has that, you know, movie channel feel to it, but it wins me over for that scene. I've always liked that opening scene.
I almost like Bride of Reanimator more so than
I do
than
too.
the other two.
Yeah, I had fun with the first one, but after I saw the second one, I thought it was even more fun.
Yeah,
and I'm the same way with a few different films. Even like Beverly Hills Cop. Oddly enough, I like the second film more so than the first because it's like because they're already all acquainted with each other and their chemistry is that much better. So the comedy flows. And the same thing with the second one, where you've got the chemistry between Jeff Combs and Bruce Abbott, and it flows much better. Plus, you got the better effects from K&B and just everything. Like, you know, it's the visual of the Gloria character laying on the table with the light underneath it, and they're resurrecting her and everything and bringing her back to life. It's just very cool visuals, great production. Just like I said, I think I enjoy it even more so than the first one. Maybe close.
I get it. I totally get it, because I've wrestled to figure out which one I like better too. It's like the original has that. It's that classic. It's just there's everything about, like, I didn't really have to give the movie a rewatch, because for the most part I've got the whole thing memorized. But man, the second one it goes where they kind of danced on the line in the original. They kind of took a run and leap in the second one a little bit, you know, and they, like, with all the weird creatures and all that shit, it's even more intense and even more ghoulish and sinister. And yeah, they're both, like, those first two were solid as fuck. Third one, I give it a watch. Why not? Funny. And that opening scene.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love it. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Reanimator. But before we depart, it is now time to fire up the random clip generator, because it is time to air our random clip of the week.
Woo.
Let's see if we get canceled this week.
Get our done.
Oh, get the fuck out of here. No, no.
They're eating her.
Turn it off.
And then they're going to eat me.
I couldn't even see it.
Oh my God.
I know what it is.
We have gone 86 episodes without that fucking movie.
What is that?
Troll 2.
What?
Troll 2.
Oh, okay. Man, that movie, it's been forever since I've seen that fucking movie.
I can't even see anything, but I fucking knew what the hell that was. Just
I've gone years and years without seeing that movie.
Gentlemen,
I've seen it twice.
Gentlemen, there's something I have to reveal to you. Nilbog spelled backwards is Goblin!
Don't you go pissing on hospitality.
I won't allow it. Now see, now I'm quoting the fucking shit.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I got to tighten my belt 2 holes.
Well, if you come across Ving Rhames' wife, she's just going to bury you in a trailer full of popcorn.
I think the random clip generator's broken.
I would be too after that.
Oh, there you go.
I've seen the movie twice, and I've watched best worst movies, so I know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever see The Guyver?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Jeff
have not seen The Guyver.
Mark Hamill.
I know of The Guyver and Mark Hamill being in it, but I have not seen it yet.
What's interesting is Jeffrey Combs plays Dr. East in that film.
That's fun.
I totally. Oh, wow. I'm gonna have to go back and find that one.
The dynamic, Dr. East, Dr. West. There's I think there's fan theory that it's his long lost brother that's trying to live up to his brother's standards, and then kind of like the yin and yang of the West family.
That's funny.
That would be great. Like, I'm picturing that right now, where they were. You're welcome, Hollywood. You're welcome.
What, like a parent, like a Parent Trap type Reanimator,
or like Double Impact? Where,
Jesus,
great.
Double Reanimated.
And I feel like this is one of the franchises. I feel like the door is still open. I feel like you could do another one. I mean, I know Jeff Combs is getting up there in age and all, but especially with, it's a science-based film. You could do a Reanimator that's more modern with the AI technology and everything like that. All the different things that have changed over the last 30 years, and make it more interesting. Tie all that same stuff that we know from the franchise into the new, more modern stuff.
I think that too. I think they could. I mean, just don't give it to Blumhouse.
No, don't.
No,
just leave it alone. We want to put that in the internet. Like, we want to put that out in the universe. Nope.
Give them nothing anymore.
A24.
A24 all the way. Woo.
Yeah. Just give it to Rob Zombie.
Whoa.
Calm down.
Easy, big
A
fella.
Rob Zombie reanimator. Honestly, you know what? I wouldn't be
I
mad
mean,
about
Sherry
it.
Moon is Dr. Herbert West. I mean,
Oh, see, that ruined it. Like I was just
I'm
like,
sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, maybe let's hear him out, see what he got, and see what he has, and then Sherry Moon. See,
Fucked it all up.
I mean, you know who she would be? She would be Barbara Crampton's character.
Like okay,
you couldn't make her the old German woman at the beginning.
Rob Zombie's like, okay, this is what I want you to do. I want you to suck on my wife's titty. All right, and then I'm gonna put your head between her legs.
Yeah.
Like, no. Although I'd be interested to see what Rob Zombie could do on an indie budget. You know, he's. I feel like maybe doing all these studio films fucked him up. Like too much bullshit. You know, it's like just give him a small budget and do a shitty B.
He works better.
I mean, he even said that during Halloween too, that he didn't even fucking want to do it because he was just tired of the bullshit.
Yeah. I was watching.
He couldn't do what he wanted to do.
Yeah, for Halloween 1, it was just so much shit from the Weinsteins. He couldn't do anything.
Right.
Yeah.
And then by the time 2 came around, he was like, "Fine, I'll do it if you let me out of my 3-movie contract."
Right.
He's like, "I'll do it just to get the hell out of here because I'm tired of this."
Well, it shows. It shows.
Yeah.
At least he's honest about it. He doesn't even like how stuff.
Look at Devil's Rejects. Like he got less money for that, and
that's his masterpiece.
He did with that. Yeah, for
that's
sure.
His fucking masterpiece.
Although I don't know, Lords of Salem.
I love. Me and Whitman both love that movie. It took me a while, but yeah, it took me a while. But after I really thought about it and really understood it a little bit more, I liked it.
I didn't mind Lords of Salem. To me, it just seemed like a weird 70s throwback.
That's exactly that's what
slotted in with one of those weird ass 70s movies that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and I'm like, that's fine.
It would be a full moon movie, and everybody would love it now. Like honestly, that's the truth. It really would. It'd be one of those kind of movies. But not turning this into a fucking Rob Zombie like discussion, but like it took me a while. But Lord of Salem, I don't think it's that bad of a movie.
Like Lords of Salem to me felt like something you could put on a double bill for like an old school theater thing with like The Baby or something.
Well, just like every Rob Zombie movie except for Devil's Rejects, he can't make an ending to save his fucking life. So, he put Aerosmith at the end of 31. That's all I'm going to fucking say. Can we continue off this now?
Hey, when all else fails, remake the Monsters.
I like the Monsters anyway.
There you go. Well, Jeff, we thank you so much for stopping. Brother, come back anytime, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man.
It's a lot of fun.
Do you want to share with the folks what's going on in your life?
I
kind of sprang that
on
you. By the way.
I'm really bad at plugging my own stuff. So I do the Skewered Universe podcast, show number 1, where we review movies a little bit differently. We almost do it like a horror host type of thing. We'll break every 15 minutes and come back and give our real-time thoughts on the movie. It's typically something that either myself and my wife haven't seen or at least one of us hasn't seen. So we're trying to bring stuff to the table.
Yeah, get that real reaction.
Experience. Get a real reaction, exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just something we maybe haven't seen in a long time. We're like, we need to revisit this because I remember liking it, and then you'll see whether we do or not. And we have guests on from time to time. Right now, we're doing a Guillermo del Toro director spotlight series for October.
Nice.
And we've covered Pacific Rim and Mimic, and we're going to be doing Chronos this week. We're going to record that, so that'll be coming up very soon. And you can find it basically wherever podcasts are. You can go over to skeweredhead.com. You can find all the social media links to follow Skewered Universe. The second show I do is Tales from the Podcast. We go live every Saturday. And I do that with JB and Ron, and that's a lot of fun. We're right now covering the Friday the 13th franchise to talk about how everybody else is doing.
Yeah. I saw that. Yeah.
The more mainstream, I'll say, stuff. Mm-hmm. That's what we've been doing over there. It's a lot of fun. You guys can check us out every Saturday over there. We're actually going to be changing time soon, so I don't want to say anything until we have that set in stone. But typically we're at around 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. That might be an hour earlier going forward, but we haven't really set it in stone yet. So But that's a lot of fun. You can find us on anywhere podcasts are. Again, you can go to Facebook for either of the shows. Just look for the name Skewered Universe, Tales from the Podcast, and yeah, join the conversation. We have a lot of fun.
And we'll also have the links to those podcasts, those programs in the description. So make sure you subscribe in case they do change times on you on Saturday night for Tales from the Podcast.
And
so Skewered, very cool. I dig it.
I think Chuck has actually been the most frequent guest on Skewered Universe. So
look at me.
Yeah, I think you have been on the most.
Thanks, Dave. I'm a fun. Hey, I'm a fun guest. We talk with me and that guy. We have a lot of fun talking like on there. We end up talking. What was it? What was the last one we talked about? We ended up talking almost 2.5 hours.
Oh, that was shit. What was it? Oh, it was Near Dark.
Near Dark.
Oh, yeah, nice. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Over 2 hours. We talked about Near Dark.
Yeah.
I finally got to see it, and yeah, that was. You guys go check out that episode too. That was real fun.
Oh yeah, and we also talked about Freddy's Dead, and that's when we realized that movie is not nearly as good as we once thought it was. But we won't go there because those guys. This guy. You all love Freddy. Love him so much.
It's still
not Freddy. No.
Greater than the remake.
We have our breaking point.
A man has to know his limitations.
Know your limits, Master Wayne. Oh, sorry.
We have all of the links in the description for the series Jeff's on. We also have the links in the description, as always, for everything that Nasty does. He doesn't eat or sleep, ladies and gentlemen. He is on the internet constantly when he should be doing inventory here in the store. But Nasty, do you want to share with the folks what you have going on? A little bit of everything.
Who?
You, crazy.
Oh, yeah, me. I have a few things going on. I've got my books out. Thirsty, my novella, my novel House of Flesh, and my anthology Sludge, which I do with Stuart Bray and Jason Nickey. Go on Amazon. It does in paperbacks and ebook. Whatever your flavor is. I've got a few writing projects that I'm in the process of working on right now. One is a collaboration with my friend and author Ashley Fox, which is going to be it's a really fun nasty project. It's pretty extreme so far. I'm only working on the 4th chapter, so if that says anything, it's going to be nasty. Go figure. And then I'm also still working on finishing up Officer Oink, which will hopefully have both those out in the next few months, if all works out. But fingers crossed. And then my band, Bastard Sons of a Juice Goat. If you're a fan of 2-piece bands that play loud, sludge, sludgy, hardcore-y, noisy riffs, check us out. And Graveyard Talk with me and Whitman, which that's on Anchor, Spotify, and all that, along with Nasty Nation, which I haven't really done jack or shit with lately because I don't do anything but everything, and I don't have time. But one day, we're working on things to bring back Nasty Nation in a totally new way. Yeah. It's been talked about, but whatever. We won't go there.
Be like Herbert West. What would Herbert West do, Chuck?
I keep thinking Chad is some kind of reject from the Foot Clan.
It keeps reminding me of that episode of Remember Are You Afraid of the Dark back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you remember the one where the guy they put on the glasses and they see like the people in like the bodysuits that are all dark? That's what it reminds me of. The name's Sado. I don't know if that brings a bell at all. But yeah. I'm a big fan of that old show.
I never watched Are You Afraid of the Dark, so I have no idea.
What? I can get the Foot Clan too.
The Orange Couch.
I remember the Big Orange Couch. I just never watched Are You Afraid of the Dark. I think it fell just
Were you afraid of the dark?
Younger than what my age group was at the time. It was just for the group behind me. So
That was my group, and Are You Afraid of the Dark was almost like Goosebumps. You know, it's influential.
I've seen a couple of episodes over the last 10 years ago, and I appreciated what they were. Yeah, so I get it.
Oh yeah, it's a fun show. It is. I'll still go back and watch it. What is going on over there, Dave?
Doctor.
And when I look over there, all I see is a foot.
Doctor.
Your
hair's so soft, and you smell like steak.
It's steak. It's Chris steak.
Oh, on that note, that does it for us. See you next. Oh boy, what are we doing next week? Next week's our Halloween special.
Yeah, we can't forget that. The culmination of this October month of horror.
And we have something very special planned that revolves around our trip to the Mothman Festival last month. We will dedicate our Halloween special 2023 to the Mothman. We'll discuss the Mothman prophecies, have all kinds of footage from the Mothman Festival in our very special Halloween special in special 2023.
Special Mothman, special edition Mothman special. Special man moth, butt beans.
With bonus features.
Butt beans?
Special.
Butt beans. You got to give him beans and touch his butt, which I didn't do.
I'm here to check it out. I'll be in the chat for that one.
Good night, Jess. Thank you for stopping by. Rewind that tape or I'll revoke your membership.
May the swords be with you.
Rewind.
That's it.
Doctor?
That's it.
Doctor?
I feel like we should all just go black and it's just the green light, like in the beginning of the first movie.
Well, once we go black, we can't go back.
Oh God, let's get out of here before the shit goes
Who turned
wrong.
the movie off?
When the shit goes down, you better be ready.
The movie will be over.
You better be ready.
Thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you next Tuesday.